Hiya, it's Amanda here from Lolli Lulu Crafts, and today I am going to show you how to put together a tattered lace panorama card. So I'm not going to get into the decoration, it's literally the how-to. So first of all, what is a panorama card? It may be that you've not heard of a panorama card before. So a panorama card is basically like a tunnel, so you're looking at your card and it's creating layers for you that literally physically sitting one behind the other, and then you decorate each layer in a certain way so that it gives that perspective. It's kind of like decoupage in that it gives that dimension and that perspective, but it is actually really simple to do, and Tattered Lace have come up with a die to make it even easier. Okay, so I've got here my panorama concertina side and inner plates die, and I've also got my essentials rectangles. Now you can get large versions of these as well. In the large it comes as this concertina and the back panel come as separate elements, so if you do go for the large one, make sure that you get both parts, and obviously you would need the large rectangles or squares or whatever it is that you would be using. Now the first thing to say is that although your panorama die is this size, you can actually cut this down. You can't obviously make it taller, but you can make it smaller. So you can, if you go to the link below, I will put some information on this post for you that was in a Tattered Lace magazine showing exactly where to cut to make certain size cards, and I think that might be useful if you want to do different sizes and different shapes. Okay, so I've got my Sizzix here and my magnetic platform, and then I'm going to add in my acrylic plate, a piece of white cardstock, and then finally my first die, which is the side panel, and I'm going to put that down, cut side down. So we're going to cut two of these side panels, and then I'm finally, to make the sandwich, just our last acrylic plate and then just winding that through. And it may make some cracking sounds. That's quite normal with dies, that's nothing to worry about. And then we just pop that out, and it's cut out beautifully, as you can see. And then we just give that a bit of a push. There we go, and that's come out beautifully. And then we're going to cut a second one exactly the same. So we've got our two side panels now. Okay, so next we are going to cut out the inner panels for our panorama card. So we're going to put down a piece of white cardstock and then our die, and it's the same sandwich as before: my magnetic plate, an acrylic plate, a piece of card, my die, then finally my acrylic plate, and then we'll just roll that through. And there we go, all cut out. And we need a second one of these, so I will now go and cut another one of these out. Okay, so the next element we need to cut out is our back panel. Now I'm using the Essentials Rectangles die, but you can just as easily use a piece of cardstock cut to an A5 size. So either way will work fine. Now normally you would only cut one background panel, but I want to cut a second one for two reasons. One, I think it's always nice to have a little bit of extra strength, and secondly, I want the inside part of my background piece to be a different colour, because that's the piece of card that's going to be seen from the front of my panorama card. So I want that to be in this blue, so I've cut a second piece as well. Okay, so now we're going to be cutting out our front piece, and for this we want to cut out the largest square from our Essential Square die set. So this is the last piece that we're cutting, and the next thing we need to do is create the apertures in all of these layers so that we can see through, and that's what creates the panorama part of our panorama card. Now for this you can use any shape. You could use your hearts, your squares, whatever you want. I'm going back to my rectangles. I want to keep it nice and simple. So I'm going to start off with the third die down. First layer is my square, which is my front layer, and so I'm using the largest of my dies that I'm going to be using, and this is going to create a frame with my front panel piece here. So we're going to pop that so it's all lined up, and that's the beauty of the magnetic sheets. You don't have to stick anything down, you can just let the magnet do all the work. And then we just pop that through, and we've created our aperture or frame, whichever way you want to look at it. So then we're going to do exactly the same with our other two layers, and those are the ones that have got the little hooks on. Now you can choose exactly how you do this. I'm going to choose to make my aperture get smaller the further back into the card that it goes. I personally think that works really well. So we went on the third die down, which was number 13. We're now going to go 2 more down, which will be number 11. So again, I'm just going to centralize that onto my panorama panel there. And this is probably a little easier because it's rectangle on rectangle, so you can be sure to get it even. But don't forget what I said before, you could use any shape on these. It doesn't have to be a rectangle. I think ovals worked really well, circles, actually all the shapes can look really effective. So we've done that on this panel, so we've gone a couple of dies down, so this aperture is slightly smaller than our front panel. And now we're going to do our final one. So that was number 11, and we're going to go down to die number 9. So I'm just counting out here, working out to make sure that I'm going down 2 dies each time. So say that's die number 9, and we're just going to centralize that onto my panorama panel here. And again, it doesn't have to be central. If you wanted to, you could move it up towards the top or the bottom, whatever you wanted to. The only thing you want to make sure is that you can see through from back to front. Okay, so that's all our cutting done. So now it's a case of just the construction, and I think now that was when it will make a little more sense. So taking the first one, just folding it back. We're just doing a basic fan fold. So just fold that back. You can score it if you want to with your bone folder, and then we're going to go back the other way, and then the other way, back this way, and then finally this way, and then just scoring along like so, making sure it's all nice and crisp. And there is the side panel. So that's that one done. We're going to do the same on this one, and there's our second one. Perfect. Okay, so I think to stick this down, the best thing is the red tape, because it gives a really strong adhesion, and I don't think you need to be sure that it's nice and strong. You don't want it coming apart on the person. So we're going to be popping it in position. So I think the easiest thing is to pop it onto the blue one and then stick the white one on the back. So I'm going to put some red tape onto this flap. So you want it this way round, so the little pointy bits are on the inside, and then you want to put your red tape down that edge at the back there. So just flatten that out for a minute, and just move everything out of the way because red tape's lethal, will stick to anything. And then we'll just pop that down on the back here, and then snip like so. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Now if you were only doing one back as opposed to two pieces, then this is what you would do. You would just stick it down like this, and then that would be that. And it's nice and neat on the back here. You've got the finished edges with those little corners taken off, etc., so it would still look really nice. But since I've got the extra piece of card, I may as well hide the workings. So now let's just take our red tape off on one piece, and we'll get our blue piece of card. What I would suggest is that you lay the card down this way, your concertina this way, and then put your card across the top of the main part of the concertina, lining it up with the crease that you're going to fold and lining it up the two sides, so then you know it's perfectly square. If you flatten that out underneath, you know it's perfectly square, and all you have to do is then fold that over. So just making sure it's square, and then just fold that over like that, and then you know that that has lined up correctly. And there we go. So there's our first piece on. So now we're going to do the next piece, and then that's our back piece is done. I think that looks good. And then the front is like so. Okay, so now if you were just doing the one piece card, it's still pretty good, it's pretty strong, then that would be done, and this part of it, and then you would start on to the next stage. But because, as I said, I've got this second piece, I'm actually going to stick this on the back here, and this will cover up that workings, cover up the blue, and just give a bit more strength to the back of my card, like so. There we go. So then that really is lovely and strong now. And then I've still got my blue inner, and my workings are all covered up, and we've got a lovely strong back here. So then we're going to take our frames that we've created. Now we would normally have done the decoration on these, but all you have to do at this point is just pop these in to our little side holes here, like so. So we do both on one side, and then you would do the other side. Okay, so here's our frame, and then that is just going to stick down onto those front flaps like so, and there is our panorama card. Now obviously you need to decorate it, etc., and you would do that prior to popping these in, and do each layer and then pop them in. Okay, so that's how you make your panorama card. So I hope you've enjoyed taking a look at this with me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now. Bye.